this is Andrea and welcome to Girl Talk. This episode is very important to women, mothers specifically, because we will be talking about breastfeeding during this pandemic. But of course, this show is not just exclusive for moms, but to all those who have nursing women in the family. So if you're a husband, a father, a relative, or a friend of a breastfeeding Mamshie, then this show is also for you. So stay tuned to find out about the do's and don'ts of breastfeeding and the ways to boost your child's immune system this pandemic with our special guest, Tita Docmom Marini Esguerra.
By tradition, the Filipinos maintain strong family ties. But it's this same tradition that prompted more than 50% of Filipino senior citizens to rely solely on their children and relatives for support in their old age. You can follow the same path, or you can choose to proceed in another way, a better way, the Kaiser way. And what is the Kaiser way? Financial independence, especially in your retirement years, when you'll really need medical attention and support. Other HMOs serve group and individual accounts. Kaiser International Health Group focuses on your long-term health needs. How? Kaiser uniquely provides for a second layer of HMO coverage, which gives members the option to utilize it or not. You can use it if you have to, but if you stay healthy, Kaiser International Health Group will reward you with the financial independence you deserve in your senior years. Simple, worry-free, effective. Why? Because Kaiser cares. Kaiser International Health Group, the first name in healthcare.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. This pandemic has brought us all different sorts of worries, and parents are not exempted from the anxiety. We ask ourselves questions such as, how do I keep my baby COVID-free? If I'm COVID positive, is it okay to breastfeed my baby? Should I bring my baby out to continue her vaccines? All these questions will be answered by our special guest today. We have with us Pediatrician and Lactation Consultant Dr. Esguerra via Zoom interview. Hi, Tita Docmom Marini Esguerra. Welcome to Girl Talk.
Hello, Andrea. Good morning. Maayong buntag to everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us, Doc. Daghan mig mga pangutana prepare for you today. So the first topic that I'd like to discuss with you is about breastfeeding during this pandemic. Unsa man ang atong mga safety health protocols, Doc, sa pagpasuso sa atong mga babies?
Well, first of all, I want to say that because bago naman yun ni 2020 naman yun ang COVID, although there has been many research and many ongoing research on the topic, dili pa yun ana ka-exact ang mga recommendations. And as we go on, along the way, the recommendations change. Like last night, I read a 41-page document on a new recommendation that was published like 10 days ago. Kay man sa previous one na nasa bago. And this is just for children, no? But specifically for breastfeeding. Actually, the WHO published their recommendations for this, and this is what we generally follow. Now, if you are sick with COVID or you think you might have it, you have to use a medical mask. Okay, there's no study in using the cloth mask for the prevention of the spread of COVID. But if you have a medical mask, a surgical mask, that would be great. Pero kung wala ka yung surgical mask, mas mayo na yung mask kaysa wala yung mask, di ba?
Yeah.
And of course, you have to wash your hands really well, have to 20 seconds, wash your hands, and sanitizer. Although sanitizers are approved, no? I'm really for soap and water. Good old soap and water pa rin. Then you have to routinely also clean the surfaces of any areas that you touch. For example, nagsige kang sulti and then your saliva without a mask, and then your saliva maybe on your chest, and then you're gonna breastfeed your baby. Then you have to clean that area as well. Kasi na siya in contact. But ang recommendation, Andy, is even if the mother has COVID-19, the mother is still encouraged to breastfeed her baby. Mm-hmm. Or if she's not feeling so well, like nag-uya siya, pwede good siya iyang milk, iyang i-hand express or i-pump, then she can put it in a container, and then somebody else who is well can give it to her baby. Mm-hmm. This is because through the years, ever since the evolution of of the human being, breast milk has really been protective. Okay, so whether we have COVID or not, or even we have the simple flu or whatever, it is recommended to continue breastfeeding, but with strict adherence to infection control practices.
But dili ba mapasa, Doc? Because one of the concerns I'm sure that mothers have in mind is that basig mapasa sa ilang gatas ang virus to the baby kung iyang imnon ang iyahang milk. So what's your take on this?
That is a very good question, and I'm glad mo na-ask na siya kay daghan bitaw mo stop o pag-breastfeed because they think na mapasa. Actually, there have been many studies, mostly in China, but also in other parts in the world. Ilang i-test ang baby paggawas yun. Like, paggawas yun niya about seconds after birth, ilang i-test, swab and all that. Kung negative siya or positive for the virus. And then after that, like, breastfeed na, ilang i-test again. Kung mo positive ang baby o ang breast milk sa mother. And all of these studies have so far not shown that breast milk can transmit the virus. In fact, a few days ago, I think i-publish, di ba? Kita ka sa kanang social media, i-publish nila nga actually the component ng breast milk that can inhibit the replication of the virus. But this is actually a very common mechanism of how breast milk protects us and protects our babies because it is a living fluid. Even if it's outside your body already, nana siya yung mga immunoglobulins and components that continue to kill the germs that is there. So, wala pa actually proofs nga mo transmit o COVID ang ato ang breast milk. Although, ang makatransmit ang kamot sa gahando
Okay.
sa breast milk. So that's one thing. If you're not too sure that the person who's handling your breast milk, okay, di ba you're sick with COVID, yeah, you're asking somebody else to handle it. If you're not too sure, kinana to siya ay seminar nga how to do the infection control practices.
Doc, I've read this study nga kanang mga breastfeeding women who were tested positive or had exposure to positive nga mga patients, ang uban daw gipangayuan sila og sample sa ilahang milk just to test if naka-develop ba sila og antibodies against the virus. So, is it possible ba nga kanang if naa kay exposure to kanang mga COVID positive patients, mas ma-powerful ang imuhang gatas para ma-protect sa imuhang little ones?
Actually, dahil kung gusto isulti about that, but you know, sa ubang sakit, that happens. For example, if you're exposed to a common cold, your body will literally make antibodies to that cold virus and transmit it to your baby through your breast milk. The antibodies only handle the germ. So, why will it not happen with COVID? Pero in science, mga good, and in medicine, dito pwede anang basit. Right? We have to have these numbers and statistics, and studies have been going on so far in many parts of the world. They've been studying breast milk, and they have been preliminary results na, yes, most probably, our breast milk can make antibodies against COVID. So that's very interesting research kay grabihan ka superpowers na doon sa mga breastfeed kung ma-prove yun nila. But it's not impossible. Actually, it's very probable.
Wow.
And I just wish that soon, magawas na yun atong mga dito na studies. But it takes years to make a good study.
Mo jud din nilang giingon, Doc, nga liquid gold ang gata sa inahan.
Grabe yun ka liquid gold because our bodies make antibodies in real time. And nutrients also are made in real time. Even the water content is made in real time.
Doc, if the mother is well enough to feed nga direct latch, mas advised ba if COVID positive nga skin to skin gyud ang pag-breastfeed sa baby, or mas ngayon nga i-express ang milk and then i-feed lang via bottle?
The recommendations lately have been stressing shared decision making. It means that the doctor and the family should have this very clear dialogue between themselves about the risks of everything, because each family is different, right? Like some people, they are very hands-on with their babies. Some people, they need to ask somebody else to take care of the babies because of many other things that they have to do. So if everything falls into place, That's a difficult question to answer because different people have different experiences, right? But the best would be to still keep the baby with you on skin to skin, especially if gamay pa mo baby, like a newborn or months old pa siya. It is very beneficial for the baby to stay close to you. Kaya mas regulate yung temperature. Actually, oxygen niya sa brain, yung heart rate, stress hormones go down, blood sugar is good. And when the baby is directly breastfeeding from you, like nag-suck good siya, some of the saliva of the baby will go to you. Kaya nag-suck man siya, actually it goes in the nipple a little bit. It's called backwash. And this tells your body exactly what antibodies to make for your baby. So mas instinct mo kung naka-skin to skin contact mo. But you have to always wear your medical mask and gloves ka, not gloves, mag-wash ka, hand washing, and then cover sa imuhang area kung nag-storya or wash mo siya.
How about after the breastfeeding procedure, Doc? What are our kind of isolation health protocols when COVID positive ang inahan? After siya magpasuso, unsa man ang angay buhaton sa mga mommies?
Kung ikaw ang mama, ikaw ang COVID positive, you only hold your baby kung dako-dako na siya. Kung mag-breastfeed na ka. Then after that, kato gihapong 6 feet away. Kay para matipis mo kay naman din sa hangin, di ba? Sa pag-mask out, mag-shield. So, if possible, you stay a little bit far from your baby until moingon ang doctor na okay na ka, dili na ka-infections. Just as a precaution, if you think you may have COVID or you are really COVID positive like that.
How about for the pregnant women, Doc, nga positive sa COVID? Is there a chance nga mapasa sa ilahang baby ang sakit while they are inside the womb?
Ilahan ang gitest karon ongoing, but the research is not yet clear if COVID can really be transmitted through the womb, but it's not impossible also. I cannot comment clearly on that because the studies are really not so definite yet at the moment. But in the process of the birthing, it can really happen because there are already respiratory factors going on.
How about for mothers, Doc, na dili COVID positive but they're breastfeeding moms pero kinahanglan sila magawas-gawas because of mga errands or let's say they really need to go back to work, gawas sila sa balay, igbalik, like for example myself, when I go back home, I have to breastfeed my 1-year-old baby. So unsa man ang imuhang ika-advise sa mga breastfeeding moms such as myself nga naay constant outside exposure?
Well, when you're out, if you're hand expressing or you're pumping, then you have to be very extra careful about the surface, about the room that you're in. If possible, you pump in a room na ikaw lang. Nawalay laing tao kay basin makontaminate. And then, other people, they would put their pump milk in a container, in this container na pump sila, no? Ilang i-decant or put it in another container na di na attach.
Okay.
And then always wash hands and all that. And then when you go home, everything needs to be sanitized, including all the imuhang ice bag, imuhang ice pack, containers of milk inside. They all have to be washed with soap and water. And then, of course, when you get home, it's better if you remove your outerwear outside the house.
Okay. And
then but for example, ako, when I get home, I remove my outerwear. I always have this. When I'm coming from the hospital, of course, I have this PPE. And then before I go in the car, I shed that first coat and then put it in a basin or a container sa trunk, no? Igabot na ko sa balay, I shed another coat.
Luoy ang maglaba,
and then,
Doc.
yeah, maganda yun na yung washing machine. Pero sige na lang, di ba?
Yeah.
And then, ang kanang shoes nga giwear na ko sa car, it doesn't go out of the car.
Okay.
It doesn't go out of the car. When I go out of the car, I just leave my shoes there, and then mag-chinalas na ko, inigawas na ko sa car. And then, I don't touch anything. Diretso ko sa CR. My kids know, igabot na ko, don't touch mommy. But then sa amo amang good kay Dr. Mangkun, dugay na namo gibuhat. Yeah, whenever I go home, don't touch mommy, yun.
Yeah.
Then they have to wait for me to shampoo my hair and all that. And then mag-gargle gid abot sa balay with I gargle with salt and water. Sometimes betadine ako i-gargle. Yeah. Gargle nga betadine pang akong mouthwash. And then sometimes if I feel like I was quite exposed, I would do a saline irrigation sa punos.
Wow.
This is because I'm a doctor. You can do this too. Like, what's may mga saline irrigation? You know, sodium chloride para sa baby ba?
Yeah.
Naghanong ko, ana.
I-squeeze rin mo sa imong nose, Doc?
Yeah, I just squeeze it into my nose and let it drip. I don't suction it.
But these tips, Doc, these are also applicable not just to moms, but even to dads or anyone in the household nga doon yung mga bata sa balay.
Yeah, even if wala kay bata.
Yeah.
But especially if you have elderly in your household.
True.
So, in short, everything that is from outside is shed outside the house. And when you get in, do not touch anything. And then, take a bath. And then my keys, my cell phone, they go in the chamber that I DIY'd. Ibalit may ugkuan ka ng rack bitaw.
Yeah.
Rack. And yeah, you put ka na mag foiled insulation around and then you put it in and everything that came from outside goes in there. And then bags don't go in the house anymore. Okay. Nothing goes in the house except for kung nakay breast milk, you have to bring it in the house. So you have this container of your breast milk, right?
Yeah.
And then I would presume it's cold, but not frozen. Because we don't prefer na frozen shiny transport.
Yeah.
Kasi doon siya cold lang. So, ibutang na mo sa sink, hugasan mo soap and water. Okay na na. And then, pwede na dahil mo siya i-store.
Okay.
I-store na dahil mo siya.
You are still watching Girl Talk. Earlier, we've discussed about breastfeeding during this pandemic, and this time, let's tackle the ways and how to boost our children's immune system to make sure that they don't catch this deadly virus. Still with our Zoom interview with Tita Docmom Marini. Tita Docmom, unsaon man gyud nga to make sure no nga mahimong COVID-free ang atong children?
Okay, most siguro na ang top one question I would get asked every day.
Yeah.
And every day my answer is always good nutrition, rest, and sunlight. Okay, but in the Philippines, our most common deficiencies are vitamin A, zinc, vitamin D, iron. Yan ay uban na ay mga folic acid deficiencies mo nang naasay mga folic acid supplementation. But our Department of Health actually has this recommendation to give vitamin A at specific intervals in the when they visit the health center. They're given vitamin A at around 6 to 9 months, and then again at specific intervals. This is a very, very important vitamin to make sure that's in your diet. Another one is iron. No, there are lots of people nga magsige inom iron like from birth 105 years old na ginom iron. It's not needed, okay? That it's not like that. There are specific times when you give the iron supplementation. But I also want to say nga kinahanglan ipurga imong baby or anak.
Okay.
Like once a year or twice a year, imo siyang ipurga because the bitok there will be stealing some nutrients from your baby. And then also zinc and D, the vitamin D from sunlight. Okay? A lot of our kids are indoor all day, especially those who are in school online now. Like all day naa sila, then dito sa pag-ausun kay hadlok lagi makubit sa gawas, kay like COVID ang ingan or whatever. But please find a way to let your child have 30 minutes of sunlight per day. It doesn't have to be early morning, it can be afternoon also. Arms, face, and legs exposed. Okay, and then butangan lang siguro nimo og something para lang mo okay, nagkamang lang ang pregnancy season naman.
Bitaw.
And then the zinc, you can get this in the food that you eat. Okay, so are you familiar with pinggang Pinoy? Kuwan siya na siya pinggan for kids, for teens, for adults. Nagani pinggang Pinoy nga para sa breastfeeding, katong pregnant and lactating, kahit na ilang pinggan.
Okay.
So it is like a visual representation of how much you should be eating. But just to give you an idea, you should provide a variety of food a day, at least 4 of the 7 food groups per meal. Kaya dili na di ay to go, grow, glow, and di, lahi na di ay.
Nadungagan
4
eh,
of
Doc.
7 na. So ano siya? Eggs.
Okay.
Eggs. So, legumes, like itong mga beans,
yeah.
legumes, di ba?
Uh-huh.
Then, vitamin A rich food, which are itong mga yellow food, carrot, kalabasa, vitamin A rich food. Other fruits and vegetables like avocados, high sa upat, di ba? Flesh food, which are meat. Okay, I want to say mga mamshies out there, ang 10 months old baby mo kaon na og meat ha.
Yeah.
Upat na to. 5 na di ay. Then grains, roots and tubers, kamote, root crops, and then dairy products which are high in calcium. Actually, kanang cheese ni mo mag-block.
Yeah.
Kanang gamay na cheese, taas din na siya og
Calcium.
calcium. Pero kamo kay imong kamunggay, taasan kaayo
As
calcium.
in, kamunggay is rich in calcium.
Kamunggay in your backyard.
I thought it was only rich in vitamin C. Apil sa day calcium, Doc.
Also iron.
Wow.
Also vitamin A. It's such a superfood. But you have to know how to process your kamunggay. Itong hilaw-hilaw pa.
Ang mas effective.
Mas effective kay ma-activate man ang vitamin C sa heat. Pero ano naman di ayaw, may lami, di man ganun sa bata. Lutuan na lang.
Mausad.
Lutuan na lang siya. So, you have to have 4 of those that I mentioned per meal. Yeah, plus snack pa yun sa morning, kanya snack pa yun sa afternoon. So, that's quite a lot.
How about sa kanang mga bata, Doc? I'm sure daghan sa mga mamshies nga makarelate nga kanang pugsunon nga pakaunon, and I'm sure nga mag-uol gid sila no kay di sila makakuha og enough nutrition, especially karong pandemic nga kinahanglan himsog gyud atong kids.
Nagigo na bantayan ana sa mga pasyente, auntie, nga ang bata ba normal kaayo, normal height, normal weight, normal developmental milestones. And then, mommy comes and says, Doc, di siya mukaon. Ikaw ba may mga pakaon, ana? Masakto man yan.
I know.
Pero gusto obese.
But that relatable kayo na siya nga situation, Doc. I think it's more of our culture, no? Nga, dili healthy tan-aon for some moms ang ilang kids. Kung dili siya tambok, because mo man gud atong standards, uy, ka-cute sa baby, busog kayo, ana niya, kung lean ra gani ang child, although di siya magkasakit, sometimes ang ubang mga inahan or you know, the older mga relatives mag-uol.
Oh. Tanaw mo sa growth chart ba? Nindota sa growth chart. Pero di ko na mukhaon. Your baby is just listening to her body, no? Amo na iya di kinahanglan ng nutrients because we're doing so well developmentally, and when we take measurements, okay siya. And then you're here like what, twice a year? Okay, one time flu vaccine, karon na aka dili kay mga vitamin. But you don't really need it. And then actually, a lot of the vitamins that we take, although we do use them for medical reasons, so like vitamin deficiencies, a lot of it is just eat out if it's not needed by the body.
Yeah.
Then, sige po struggle o take o vitamins. So, that's much better to go natural with it. And then, I have some patients sa Andy pa. Doc, gusto kayo siya mukaon. Pero sickly lagi siya. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Pero sa gikaon, rice, ug sabaw. Busog kaayo. Result sa only.
Yeah. Tinuod. Mas dali man gud nila matulon, Doc.
Mag-swimming-swimming sa sabaw na din. Dahil kanang sabaw man ni sa utan, Doc. Okay, pagkawa ng utan, wala. Ang katurang sabaw.
Yeah.
So, they're common in our culture. Yeah. But I can see that it's really, in the last years pa, it changed yun siya. Like the way people are looking at food now. Is really changing. And I bet because of this pandemic, people are really more conscious now about food that they eat, the amount of sleep that they get. You know, kids need more sleep than adults. Adults need 8 hours of sleep, but generally, kids are around a little more. And then they need afternoon nap kung may pa sila like 2 or 4. They're so overstimulated with the screen.
Yeah.
It has to be off 1 or 2 hours before sleeping. Wala na screen kay maka-stimulate magit kayo sa ila and really impairs the immune system.
Okay. So daghan gyud ning mga negative effects no ang over nga screen times atong mga kids.
Yes.
Doc, with regards to these vitamins, Doc, bakay, I'm sure daghang mga mommies nga kanang nagkabuang og pangita og mga vitamins para sa ilang mga anak. Is it advisable nga ikaw ray magreseta for your kids? Like I know there are so many vitamin brands out there, especially nga daghan kay tag-ads, no? Nga makita kung unsay mga positive effects sa mga bata. Okay ra ba nga sila ray magbuot kay ala kani para di mga COVID, kani ako ipatumar sa akong anak? What's your advice on that?
Ako kay no. Although it is over the counter and it is legal for it to be over the counter, but you're buying something you may not need. And you can just reserve that budget for the flu vaccine next year. Or for something more useful for the body, and sometimes sayang lang kwarta pa. May barato na yung mga vitamins niya, medyo pricey jud sila.
Yeah.
Mga inon sa lola, vitamins. Balanced diet yun, and we only use vitamins to fill nutrient gaps.
Okay.
And if there are nutrient gaps, we usually see it. We see it in deficiencies in some way, and then for siya or something like that.
Lately, Doc, unsay pamaagi sa inyong mga check-ups for the kids, especially katong may mga concern sa ilang health? Mas maayo ba gyud if we bring them to the clinic para mas ma-diagnose gid ilang symptoms, or would you suggest gid nga online lang sa gid atong mga consultations?
Ako, I speak for myself, but I know that there are a lot of my colleagues who are doing the same. We like to see our non-sick, non-urgent cases online. Like ako, I've been online since March. Kay it's exposure, and then bibiya siya ra ma-expose, naghabaya ang drugs bata. No? And then there's sleeping time, mag-sleeping sa clinic and all that. But there are some cases that I really want to see in person. But kanang like nagubugod or something. But mas maayo din sila sa ER makita, matanaw. Why? Because in the emergency room, everybody is in the full protective gear.
Okay. Compared to the clinic?
We do not know. In the clinic, we do not don the whole outfit. No, we have these levels of protection. Actually, in the clinic, the minimum requirement is just face shield and mask.
With regards to bringing our children outside for really urgent matters, daghan kong mga nabasahan nga dapat mag-mask, dili dapat suluban og mask ang bata. Kung kinahanglan jud sila ipagawas, unsa may angay natong sundon gyud ani, Doc?
For 2 years old and below, dili na sila mag-mask. Isa na sila mag-face shield because dili pa gyud kaayo sila makakontrol, di ba? And I can't say nga kuha mo na siyang hangin or sa iyong placement. And then but older kids, like above 2 and above, they have to wear masks if they have to go out at all. Okay. And then if they do go out, when they go in, they have to also take a bath and everything, pati shampoo and everything like that. Yeah, it's very important. Ako, when I ask my patients to come to me in the clinic, I give them a certificate saying I have an appointment with Dr. Esguerra at this time. So that if they go through any checkpoint or sa guard, sa silong, ana-ana.
Okay. Thank you, Doc, for your insights and inputs about boosting our children's immune system this pandemic. Up next, ato na sang hisgutan ang topic on vaccines for our babies here at Girl Talk. Welcome again to Girl Talk. Since the start of this pandemic, everyone has been advised to stay at home. However, parents have been worried about keeping their children's immunization schedule up to date because of the fear of bringing their kids outside. So to shed light on this matter, let's return to our Zoom interview with Doc Marini. So Doc, daghan ang akong mga nailhan nga mga moms nga na-disrupt ang schedule sa pagbakuna sa ilahang mga babies because they are hesitant on bringing their babies outside for the vaccine. So, can you please shed light on this matter, Doc?
vaccination is super important karong panahona because we're relying on herd immunity. Herd immunity is kung walay mga nasakit sa imuhang palibot, then you probably and your child will probably not get it also. For example, you remember a little bit late last year, patong na ay polio. No? So, if people in your environment have polio, then dako ang chance that makapolio sad ka. But ikaw as an adult, if you were given the polio vaccine, then dakong chance nga bisan ma-expose ka sa polio, you will not probably manifest it. But your child, kung wala siya ma-vaccinate sa polio, dakong chance nga ma-polio sa siya. And the implications of that are huge. No? So, if we are all immunized, for example, of flu, then your child probably will not get it. But if you did miss the vaccine, you can always catch up.
Okay.
Kaya ang ano lang sa catch-up immunization, kay ang rotavirus, atong para sa kalibang, lisod i-catch up kung late na. Na siya kinutupan na siya, deadline. Like, you can only give the first doses up to here, and you can only give the last doses up to this age group. But almost all the other vaccines, madagid ma-catch up. Like, pneumococcal. For example, kita adults, pwede pa naman pneumococcal. No, katong Tita, no, na pertussis, very important also. Did you know adults also need that vaccine to pertussis? Like ako gani, pagsugod sa COVID ko nagpa-immunize sa Tita. Kaya siya sa refrigerator. But it's there in my refrigerator all the time. It's there all the time, like every day it's there. I know that it's there. Pero pag sugod sa COVID, I think that's January or February. And I go, wait, Tita na punta na akong family. Sana siya. And then, Japanese encephalitis, measles vaccine, these can all be done with catch-up immunization. But most of the time, it is your doctor who will do this. Because health center, they don't do catch-up so much.
Yeah.
Because sa health center, manggod, kuan na ilang katong sa government nga schedule pa. Ay ilang schedule sa immunization. But if you do go to the health center, I think you should call first. Kailangan mo ang health center. Dahil health centers na closed, no? Na uban. But call them and then ask for their procedures para dili ka mo adto makanadaghan kaayo tao magkakasukin. Palista lang ka dito and then they will give you the vaccine that you need there. But the other vaccines, no, wala. Then you have to have it scheduled by your doctor to catch up with it. Pwede man dungan, dili tulong, kung late din kaayo.
What are the options offered now, Doc, by pediatricians in terms of vaccines? Nabatay mga drive-thru, mga kanang muadtod gyud sa balay, sa bata?
I want to say nga daghang mga fake vaccine karon. Na mga non-doctors nga mamalit og vaccines, I don't know where they get it from. Manghatag ra sila sa mga tao. Ang important naman sa vaccine, lagi ko yung vaccine safety is the number one important thing, no? The storage of the vaccine, the keeping of the cold chain. It's not just the administration kung sa kadako ang hilak sa bata that's important. Kinahanglan ang naghatag sa vaccine, kabaw mo tabang sa bata kung something happens, no, because of vaccine reactions. But vaccine reactions right now, very rare. Usually, kita niyo mo, mga fever naman, no? We don't really see those other things anymore, well-developed na kind of vaccine. Now, a lot of people still do vaccinations in the clinic. And for small babies, I do require to see them because when they're really small and also looking for congenital defects. But for older babies, children, there are a lot of people doing house-to-house immunization. Like they do house calls. Ako, I don't do house calls, but I do parking lot.
Okay.
In the hospital. In the hospital only. Mahadlok gani ko immunize in my own house. Because ganahan kong doon ako sa ER, so only parking lot, ER na diha sa anak. Something like that.
Okay.
But buyag, wala pag yung ana sa pakulor. But, things like that. So we can never be too careful, right? And then, I know people who do like, in the clubhouse, they do that and they schedule it. Na may ingon na. but at all times, scheduled it siya.
Okay.
Very rare na ron ang tunga lang ka niya, nakapavaccine ko do.
Well, what's your warning, Doc? I've only heard about this from you about aning mga fake nga vaccines. Basta hindi ag natay mga makit-ano online, like on Facebook, promoting their door-to-door vaccines. Unsa lang ang imo ika-warns atong mga viewers with regards to this?
Just make sure nga doktor ang i-immunize. Dili mo rag doktor.
Doctor lang.
Just make sure. Okay, there are also PAMED, immunized na sila, mga IM, adult doctors, they also do immunization. So, they have to have a medical license to be able to vaccinate. Usually, you can verify this naman. You can call the nearest hospital, and ask friends, or search around in the Facebook and Google mo, makita man mo maana, di siya ko ano. Di siya ana.
Doc,
nabiya say doctor na kuan iyang Facebook account
na-hack?
I-hack. And then somebody pretended na preseta. So be careful. Okay? Ni-charge siya siguro to siya. Di mo siguro to, I don't know the whole story.
Moning mga kuan, Doc, no, ill effects of social media po, ang uban makailad.
Yes.
Doc, aside from COVID, unsa imong nabantayan nga mga uso nga sakit karong panahon na sa mga bata? It's the month of Burr months na. Unsay mga sakit nga bantayonon sad sa atong mga ginikanan?
There's dengue now, but not a lot. Silbakulor, and then daghang kakalibang karon, which is not strange because it's Burr month, no? Mas season, and then not so many na ang chicken pox. But last month there were so many chicken pox. But there is chicken pox immunization pa yan.
Yeah.
So important kay para malasan mo among praning. So, chickenpox siya in this time of COVID. And then also there's chickenpox pneumonia ba ya? And then you have elderly also mosquito. Daghan rong ga sakit ang tiyan o kalit.
Sa mga bata, Doc?
Like out of the blue, sakit nila ang tiyan.
Unsa man ni Doc, like gastroenteritis usually?
Yeah, but then mawa raman sad. Without medication. Bantayan lang for dehydration. But daghan yun kayo nga kalibang, no?
Doc, as a medical health professional, Doc, since the height of the pandemic last March, have you noticed na a change in the, let's say, ang pagkagrabe bitaw sa COVID-19 here in Cebu? Medyo mas makakalma-kalma na ba ta?
Well, ako as a pediatrician, what do you mean? Should we calm down?
Unsa lang imong mga changes nga nabantayan, Doc, with regards to the number of patients nga nagsud gawa sa hospital nga susceptible nga COVID? Has there been a change nga dili na gid kaayo ingon ana ka grabe ang murag, let's say, the fear of this virus?
There are not as many cases, but the fear is still there 100%. Especially among us medical health professionals, like ano nyo magkita kasi mong colleague mo yung gama magkita pa bang kami next week? Something like that.
Kakuya ko.
Yeah. Bitaw. Especially for those who go to the hospital every day. I don't go to the hospital every day because every day na ko is online. And then I just come here and I actually don't see sick patients. But except kung they are admitted to the hospital, I don't see them in the clinic, sick patients. And then magkita ka sa mga nurses, magtanaw ka nila, inig ka na, apaka ni siya mag-duty. Inig na mag-COVID nila, ang whole station will be changed.
Yeah, no.
Because, expose ako sa, they are 3 shifts. And most of the time, the whole 3 shifts will be quarantined for 2 weeks. May staff, anak, for 2 weeks, like na ay sa mga COVID. So,
kinahanglan yun ligon ang immune system sa atong mga frontliners, Doc.
Lagi, kinahanglan matug permit. Yes. Yeah. So among us health professionals, the fear is really there, especially now when the restrictions are lifting and people are starting to get more relaxed because they see the numbers aren't so great. And sometimes it's in that complacency that loopholes are made bigger. Somebody gets through and the symptoms don't get really monitored anymore. Kaya, wala naman. But let's not go there yet. Wala pa talihan.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
So, you think, Doc, na diha pa taangay nga makalma-kalma gamay if naa nag-i-vaccine no, against COVID?
Yes, but tinusa pa man ng vaccine.
Yeah.
You know, it takes so many years to make a good vaccine. Yeah. I think our best step now would be to strengthen our immune system and try to distance ourselves from people. Oh, I know this is not part of our topic, but I also want to share.
Sige, go,
It just
Doc.
occurred to me now.
Yeah.
Daghan kong patients nga below 1 nga nag-fall sa developmental milestones. I think,
naman, Doc?
or below 2. I think
Like
kay
what-
kulang ang socialization.
Like what kind of milestones,
Like
Doc?
speech and interaction.
Okay.
Like kanang inig online man good, di kay ko kabantay. Kaya ang camera maguyong-uyong, lait ang mga tao. Ano ba? Inig tanaw na nako sa kanang person na, man na kong mami, mo na iyang usually sulti.
What's the cause, ani, Doc? Is it too much exposure
I think
sa
kulang
kuwan?
interaction.
Or kanang too
Kulang
much screen
interaction.
time?
Maybe also. Okay, the parent needs to work, right?
Yeah.
And then, unsaon man na, like, how do you balance? It's
I
really
know,
hard.
because parents have to hustle hard, di ba? But at the same time,
like harder.
harder yun, Doc. Especially nga daghang nawada ng trabaho and you know, the bills are still there. You have to hustle harder, but at the same time, you don't want to spread yourself too thinly as a parent, sad ba?
Yeah.
Struggle is real.
I have this patient, the mom was my patient, kay lactation patient man to.
Yeah.
Yung reason for calling me kay breastfeeding concern, na yung other concern, kay normal ba nga na siya anxiety. Hindi ko, kay anxiety, pero sa panahon ng COVID, siguro pa normal mo.
Kitang tanan, anxious.
Pero symptomatic na siya. So ako din siyang i-recommend. You have to see a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Because the psychiatrist would be the best person to pick the right management for you, whether it's medical or non-medical. Mental health is a really, really big thing at the moment because everybody's affected. Even the small babies are affected, no? And it really depresses your immune system. No, di rin mong good na ingon nga mo ito kang psychiatrist buka ka. No. You know, it's just like, you know, going to the salon and having your hair done. You know, it's part of your mechanism. I think, but every time that mga anak, you're supposed to have this checklist, di ba, after postpartum depression, something like that. So, there needs to be a higher awareness of this anxiety levels and then seeking medical management for this guy. And everybody's affected now. And when you are anxious, your stress hormones go up. It really also depresses your immune system. Just vicious cycle gets
Or kinahanglan overall health gid nato no ang atong kinangati mo not just the physical but the mental. Thank you so much, Tita Docmom. Before we say goodbye, would you like to inform our viewers about your clinics? Asa kanila ma-contact in case gusto sad sila o one-on-one consultation with you, Doc?
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me to talk about my favorite topic, breastfeeding. But my clinic is in Mactan Doctors Hospital, and I'm online every day as sa lactation consult and for pediatric clinics online. Then kung face-to-face clinic, just contact my secretary. I can be found at www.titadocmom.com or in Facebook, Tita Docmom. And also, sa mga breastfeeding moms there, please join our breastfeeding support group. It's called Milk Making Mommies and Breastfeeding Support Group in Facebook. don't you worry kay mga Bisaya ra mga tao dito, chill ra kayo in the group.
Thank you so much, Doc. Daghang giging salamat, and we really learned a lot from this discussion. Amping, Doc, pirmi. Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode of Girl Talk. We hope that this has been very informative and helpful to all of you. So again, it takes a village to breastfeed and even raise a child. So knowing these things is not just the responsibility of a mother, but that of the whole community. This has been Andrea. See you again next time here at Girl Talk.